How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, okay? So we're going to be going through a little bit of a topic that I think is quite interesting to talk about. First of all, we're going to look into the old leak that was real, the real leak, and then we're going to talk about what the possibilities of this leak are, because one of the things it mentions is something that we actually have seen pretty much last year. So I thought we'd take a look at it, see what it's all about, see what the deal is, and let's get right into the conversation, guys. So the leak I'm talking about is, of course, this one right here, the one with your boy here, you know, this image. You know the leak I'm talking about. You guys have seen it. It's the real leak, and I mean, I think I've gone through it a million times already, but I'm gonna go through it one more time in this video, just for those who have not heard this leak. But there's one particular part. Just gonna get some water, man. There's one particular part in this leak that we're going to talk about in particular today. So I'm going to quickly run through this leak just to kind of let you know what's in it. So, Pokemon Sword and Shield details. By the way, this leak has gotten a lot of things right, and I'll point out things that got correct. So, your rival's name is named Hop, which is true. But you will also be facing against Beta and Marnie, which we do not know about those two. We have not heard anything about two other rivals. Nothing like that has been mentioned. Also, do apologize if the music is too loud, but next thing, Team Yell is the gang in this game, who are well-meaning fans of Marnie causing trouble. This has not been confirmed either. So we do not know if this is true either. We have heard nothing about the evil team. Most likely we'll hear about the evil team very soon. Probably in August, I would assume. You know, in the next kind of like presentation for Pokemon. So, to become part of the gym challenge, you will have to get an endorsement. Bede gets an endorsement from Chairman Rose and his secretary, Oleana. Now, this seems realistic because there are sponsors on, like, the champion of the region, Leon. On Leon's back, there are actually sponsor messages and stuff like that. So it seems like sponsors actually will be a thing in this game. So I think this is actually highly likely to be happening as well. The evil legendary, the Eternatus is the evil legendary. The other legendaries will be a wolf, who will either have a shield mane or hold a sword like Great Wolf Sif from Dark Souls. Don't recall its name. Now, he refers to it as singular here. He says, don't recall its name, rather than their names, because they're two different Pokemon. Zacian is one Pokemon, Zamazenta is one Pokemon. They're two separate wolves. They're not the same entity. They're two different things, but he refers to them as a singular thing here, you know, as, you know, its name, rather than their names. Which is fine, because I guess, you know, you could make the argument that, oh, only one's in one game, but even in the cinematic, they showed them to meet up together. So they're definitely, you know, separate wolves, but who knows, maybe they'll fuse together like something out of, like, Transformers. Either way, or I guess more like, yeah, Transformers, we'll go with that. Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing are new dynamics that will supersize Pokemon in specific areas. Gigantamaxing is different from Dynamaxing as it changes what the Pokemon looks like. Meowth looks like a long cat. Lapras gets layered, looks like a long cat. Wait, I thought it was fluffy. I thought it was meant to be fluffy. Oh, that's mentioned further down. So Meowth looks like a long cat. Lapras gets layers like musical bars to its shell and musical notes. Pikachu looks like a retro fat Pikachu. But I guess that's only for Gigantamaxing, and that's how it's different from Dynamaxing. So Dynamaxing, we know, is true. This one was correct. It was correct about Dynamaxing being a thing. But we don't know about Gigantamaxing yet. We haven't heard anything about that yet, so who knows? Now, Sonia is Leon's former rival, who is researching the Dynamax phenomenon at the behest of her grandmother and the professor of the games, which is seemingly true, because her name, there is a assistant, kind of, to the professor, who is also known as, I think, Magnolia, is the main professor in this game, and her assistant is Sonia, who's getting looted to hell, and then she is also related somewhat to, I guess, Leon. Not related, but rather they used to be rivals. Now, next thing, some Pokemon, like Farfetch'd, will get a regional evolutions, like Surfetch'd, and Meowth looks like a ball of spiky gray fur, which means that it will get like a regional. What does that mean? It's going to get a regional evolution or regional form? I'm not really sure, because Meowth already has a regional variant in Alola. So this mean that it's going to get another one, or maybe it's a different Pokemon. He like just wrote Meowth because he confused them. Because you notice here there are a few times like further down here where you get some things a little bit confused. But this is the part of the video that I want to talk about actually. So you know, this part here about Farfetch'd, who will be getting a regional evolution called Surfetch'd. That's the point I want to talk about. That's the point that's actually really important for this video, because that's the point I want to make, which is that I think this is confirming that they're seemingly maybe taking inspiration from some of their old stuff that they used to have planned for, like, you know, through the betas and stuff in previous Pokemon games. Now, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this here that was sent to me by Sonaleon, jeez, sorry. But yeah, thank you to him, by the way, for sending this my way. Basically saying, hey, I've noticed you've talked about new Mons from the leak, and after hearing about Sirfetch'd, I've got far-fetched Betamon evolution in mind. What if they want to bring Mons from the beta and the Space World demo was leaked on purpose? It's on this list. And then if you go to this list, this is the Proto Pokemon Gold and Silver / Space World 1997 Pokemon demo, or like it's like a prototype demo type thing that they had. And this game contains 251 Pokemon, the original 151 plus 100 additions. Only a handful are obtainable through the demo. Please note that for more accurate comparison of how the sprites evolved throughout the game's initial development, the final sprites shown on this page are from the game's original Japanese release. A handful of sprites underwent further changes during the localization process prior to the game's international release, full details of which can be seen here, which they link to. And in Generation 1 and 2, there wasn't a menu sprite for each Pokemon, therefore a small number of menu sprites had to be shared among the 251 Pokemon. The final game has a few additional menu sprites, such as for Ho-Oh, Lugia, Slowbro, but the prototype has a different menu sprite, and even for the first 151 Pokemon, for example, Onix uses Geodude's menu sprite, etc., etc. If you go down here, you'll see what the deal is. So we got, like, you know, a bunch of these Pokemon that we remember. This is Gen 1, so we're just going to skip through Gen 1 and get to, like, pretty much where Gen 2 should be, which is, like, I think further down. So let's just skip a route through all this, and here we go, the evolutions. And here we go, so now we're in the other stage, right? So here you'll notice instantly some changes from what was in the demo to what ended up being the final Japanese version. So you had, for example, right here, you had Chikorita, you had its evolutions, then you had seemingly Cyndaquil, and early state versions of Feraligatr, and, you know, sorry, not Feraligatr, Totodile and Feraligatr and all that, what stuff, you know, all that stuff. You know, this was Typhlosion originally, if you guys can see this right here. This is what Typhlosion was meant to be originally, that right there. It was even called Dynamite Bear, I guess, was the name notes it had, which is very strange. But either way, so this is what they originally, you know, were thinking of, but then, of course, that was changed. So this was the demo they were working on. And if you continue going down here, you'll notice more changes. For example, here we have seemingly something that looks like Vulpix, maybe potentially a pre-evolution for Vulpix or a different form of Vulpix, who knows. This looks like, I guess, I'm not really, is it supposed to be like Gloom or something? Oh, no, what's that Pokemon called again? Tangela or whatever. I guess that's what it's meant to be. And actually, its evolution, it's just a Tangrowth or whatever. I can't even remember the name of the Pokemon. Tangrowth, right? Yeah, Tangrowth. Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, Tangrowth, I guess the evolution, which never ended up being in this game, but they put it in later on, you know what I mean? So they essentially planned it here, but it never ended up happening. If you go further down here, I guess we will find kind of the... Or is this... Oh, yeah, no, yeah, definitely. As we keep going down here, we even have an evolution for, I guess, Quillfish. We have Pichu, more of these things. Then we have here, like, I'm not really sure if this is meant to be like Goldeen or something, like I'm not really sure what this is, but it's some sort of fish. And here you actually have a shark fish, like some sort of shark that, you know what I mean, which has like a, it's like its tail is basically like one of those things that you put into water to keep the boat down. I'm not sure what the English word is for it. But anchor. There you go. It's even here. It's anchor. It's an anchor. It's got an anchor tail, and this never ended up happening. But we got a similar looking shark kind of design, not with a tail, but at least from the front. You know, with Sharpedo later on. So, you know, kind of. This right here is Grotesque, which looks kind of like a eel, which I think we ended up essentially getting something like this later on as well. This, I guess, is Parasect, you know, whatever, like, you know, some earlier form of that. Here we have Animal/Animorph monster, which I'm not sure what that's meant to be, like some maybe deformed version of like Ditto. Next up here we have Chick. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be either. But if you keep going down here, you find more and more stuff. You have Twins, which is this weird thing right here. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like the early form version of like Girafarig, maybe like a pre-evolution for Girafarig. You know, as we keep going down here, we even have like I guess like a baby version of Meowth. So it's gonna be like, it's like a cuter version of Meowth. And then also here I guess we have some sort of cat ring. It's bell ringing. It's like a bell cat or whatever. And there's more stuff like this. There's tons of stuff like this, which ended up changing later on. You know what I mean? And here of course you have Umbreon. But you know, as we keep going down here, you'll notice there's tons of this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Tons of Pokemon they had created, but they never actually put in the game, and they ended up removing. Even here, there's a baby, I guess, baby version of like a kind of like a, you know, Smoochum, but like its original version looked far more like, you know, what the actual, you know, Jinx looked like, a bit more in that style. Whereas then we got Smoochum, which looks far different. You could say, you know what I mean? But as we keep going down here, there's far more of these. There's tons of these, like, you know, kind of examples. You even have them here, like what the legendaries ended up looking like as well. You know what I mean? You know, the legendary wolves. You know, Entei, Raikou, etc., Suicune, all of them ended up looking, you know, so different at, you know, the final result versus what they originally made for them. You know what I mean? The concept designs. Even Sneasel, look at Sneasel, it's so different. But yeah, all these changes ended up happening. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think the one that we're looking for, which is, of course, Far-Fetched, if we find right here. So here you have a Far-Fetched, and then if you look for, actually, I think we got to look for Sir-Fetched. Wait, if we can find that, Sir... Let's look for the secondary option here. Let's see. No, they can't seem to find it. But what I'm talking about though is this one right here. Okay, I'm talking about this thing right here, which is basically like looks like Far-Fetched. It looks like an evolution of it, and we actually have a design here that was made by your boy Tommy Case. Tommy Case actually made a drawing of what that could look like, and this is from that, you know, from this kind of version. Except I can't seem to find it though. I'm not sure where it's meant to be. Like, you know, this is the early ones, but we need to look at the demo ones. And when we look at the demo ones, I can't seem to, like, run across it. But it's meant to be here. There it is, actually. There it goes. So Madame is what this one's ended up being called, you know what I mean? And people are, you know, considering, you know, maybe this is what we're gonna end up getting, guys. So we're gonna get, like, a Far-Fetched evolution that looks just like this. And this is maybe what it was inspired by, you know what I mean? Evolves from Far-Fetched at level 24. Actually says it right at the end here. Evolves from Far-Fetched at level 24. So people are considering that, yo, maybe this is what they are basing this off of. And if this is true, then there is a high potential that few more Pokemon in here could end up being brand new Pokemon or brand new evolutions, you know what I mean? So, for example, like there, we had Madame or whatever, which is the evolution, you know, for Far-Fetched. If this one is true, then potentially also there's other stuff in here that could end up being things. For example, there's this Pokemon down here, this one here, Wolfman, evolves at level 35. So Wolfman and Werewolf, basically this one here, people are saying that this one looks very reminiscent. If you look at this, like, this sprite here, looks very reminiscent of kind of what, like, Wooloo looks like, you know what I mean, with, like, having the, you know, the kind of brown face and then, like, you know, the white fur, which is kind of what it kind of has, you know what I mean, and people are considering maybe that, you know, Wooloo's gonna evolve into a wolf in sheep's clothing, you know what I mean, because that's kind of the concept it's kind of rolling with, so people are considering that, and that's a high possibility, I would honestly, like, argue. So I wanted to bring this up because I think it's really, really cool, and also I want to bring up a design here that was made by Fat Mons. So Fat Mons made this design of, like, kind of like what a Mega Evolution or whatever could look like for a Far-Fetched, and honestly I think a Far-Fetched definitely would deserve to get an actual evolution finally, and I think this would be really cool. Either just kind of like, you know, samurai looking design, or even this would be cool, you know, just kind of like a, almost, you know, more like a larger duck or a swan or whatever, it would be fine, but whatever way you cut it, I would love this for this to be real. And honestly, these things, like, there are so many more indications of these things being a possibility. Like, for example, we have this one right here, which is Kotora, which is a child/baby tiger thingamajiggy. And then you have here a Thunder/Tora, which is a thunder tiger, I guess. People are saying that, you know, maybe this is what then inspired them now to make Yamper, which is like, you know, a little corgi electric thing, you know what I mean? Or this could have inspired other Pokemon, you know, Electrike, I guess, and stuff like that. But there's a lot of possibilities. That's what I'm trying to get to. Like, there's a lot of possibilities here. Even, like, you know, like, there's so many things that could possibly happen. Even, like, right here, like, Porygon 2, what it looked like right here, looks like that, like that design of that, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you ever watched Bleach, there's that little, like toy that has, like, a spirit in it or whatever, like that toy spirit. Like, it looks like that little, like, bear toy spirit. That's what this looks like. And that ended up changing, even here, like, I guess, Licky Tongue, I guess, as well. Like, damn, they changed it. It had, like, a mustache or whatever. So, the possibility of these things, you know, being an inspiration for new Pokemon, like some of these old designs, and maybe, like, the fact that they didn't make them then and want to make them now, is a high possibility, honestly. Like, I think they do, you know, definitely look back at what they used to do in the past and kind of take inspiration from that, and end up being like, you know, hey, we did this back then, why not try it again? So, and I think it's a possibility. So, I'd love to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Do you think this is a high possibility that we might see some of these Pokemon returning? You know, these demo versions of them actually being the real versions we get now for some of these? Like, what do you guys think? Not like the real versions as in they're going to change a Pokemon's design to an older version of it, but rather giving, like, some of these ones that didn't end up having to be in the game, actually having them in the game. So what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. This is RuffledRowlit. Have yourselves a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.